Southern California, welcome to the Dino and Nelson Show, Saturday afternoons from 5 to 6 p.m. and Sunday afternoons at 1 p.m. on Money Radio 1150 AM KTLK. Do you own a home or have plans to in the future? You'll get all the information you need to know about what's happening in the local real estate market and how to take advantage of that knowledge. How to approach home ownership or mortgage financing with design, vision, and focus, as well as accurate information. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, listen to Real Estate Radio with Dino and Nelson Sunday afternoons at 1 p.m. right here on Money Radio KTLK AM 1150.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dino from the Dino and Nelson Show. How are you?
And this is Nelson. Thanks, Dino. I'm fine.
Good.
That's the first time you've ever asked
Nobody really cares how you're doing all the time. You have good content, so everybody wants to hear you, but nobody really cares how you're doing. I don't, at least.
Yeah, I know
I'm
you
sick
don't.
and tired of you today.
I know you don't.
Anyways, hey, this week on Dino and Nelson Show, the market has gone crazy.
It is just nuts out there. I don't know if our listeners are realizing, but there has been so many radical changes in the marketplace, just in the amount of sales activity, the purchase frenzy that's going on. We're going to be talking about that throughout our show today and really finding out what to do, because it is difficult to maneuver. It is past like driving on the 405 past LAX on Thanksgiving weekend. It is nuts.
With one lane open.
With one lane open.
It is.
The overpass being knocked down. It is crazy busy.
The market has changed, and I think it's verifiable. Even the Debbie Downers in the world out there can look at this and say it's turning.
The Debbie Downers.
The Debbie Downers. You heard me.
All right.
Anyways, hey, segment 1, Street Noise, brought to you by First Centennial Mortgage, providing market-leading interest rates, guaranteed. Text the word refi to 313131.
Hey, to get a read on the marketplace, I have Phil Immel with us, the real estate guru. I love that name. And Phil, I just wanted to get a quick snapshot of what you're seeing on the market. What's happening out there?
Well, I think your analogy is right. It's very fast track. There's 4 people trying to go down one lane. I don't know if it's quite Carmageddon or real estate geddon, but this year above and beyond, clearly the last 5 years has been the busiest year on the front line of residential real estate sales in SoCal. It's a bifurcated market. Below $1 million, especially the lower the price, under $500,000 sales price, is unbelievably busy with activity, multiple offers. And that counts for both REOs, short sales, and even equity sales. And I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. On the million-plus market or into the high-end luxury market, we're seeing more success this year from Santa Barbara to La Jolla, greater L.A., Orange County than we've seen in 5 years in terms of number of luxury homes sold.
Phil,
not stabilized yet.
Phil, it seems like, at least from our vantage point, it seems like the market truly has turned on a dime where we can almost point to the calendar and say, this is the day that the market changed. Do you find that from the real estate perspective?
Absolutely. I think the first quarter gained a lot of momentum, but right about March 30th, all of a sudden it really started turning and heating up. And the second quarter was pretty amazing for the company that I'm with, as well as many other realtor friends of mine up and down Southern California.
And so from a lending standpoint, you're also finding congestion. I know we are with the vibrant refinance activity, everybody trying to take advantage of interest rates. And then on the purchase market, this groundswell has hit the lending community with all of those new sales that have cropped up since March. What do you do?
Well, I think it's absolutely true. I mean, the one example I was going to point out to your listeners was in Dana Point, I listed a condominium for $399,000, a townhome, about 1,350 square feet, 2 master suites, kind of a cool village part of Dana Point, walked everything, very nice condition, built in the early 80s. I put it on the market 4 days ago. I just met with my clients, who are both physicians, husband and wife, and we just had 4 offers presented to them. There still could be more coming in, and we have to go back with a multiple counter offer, highest and best price. It's going to go over list price of $399, and the buyers are all getting financed, and they're anywhere from 20 to 50% down. And each lender does how good a lender does, and a great lender can do a great job for that buyer who could be the fortunate one to get the property. We're worried about appraisals, of course, and I think everybody up and down the coast may be concerned about appraisal valuations coming in because, I'm not sure the appraisers have caught up with the market, Rob.
Yeah, I think they are chasing the market, especially when we're in this upbidding kind of environment with these multiple offers and people taking that initial sales price and giving instructions like we've mentioned in other programs where they're giving their agents instructions, just raise it by $10,000 a counter until we get the property.
Well, that's exactly what happened with one of the buyers today. And contingency periods of 17 days, kind of the standard clause in California contracts. They're all rating, they're all down to 10 days, and they all want to close, or the seller wants them to close before they go on vacation about August 27th. That's not a very long escrow. So whomever we deemed to have their ducks in a row the best, with the least amount of headaches is the one we're going to pick. And it's unfortunate. There's great people. Some people are looking for property for over 3 years. And but the buyer has to get pre-qualified with a final loan approval subject to an appraisal. And we might have discussed that last time on the show. But the main thing is you have to be the equivalent of an all-cash buyer. Get your homework done. It's inevitable that you have to do it in the process. But when you're competing against 3 other people trying to buy the same property, somebody might go $10,000 higher, but they might have a sketchier-looking credit approval from their lender, or it's subject to a bunch of things, where somebody else that's got the full approval done through a company like yours could be very valuable for that buyer to win. It's not only about the sales price. It's about who's going to cross the finish line.
Phil, thanks for the insight. I appreciate you keeping your fingers on the pulse for us. We're going to check in with you weekly and understand what's taking place out there.
All right, good. And you still have a fan at least at this end.
Thanks.
Tell Dino that. Goodbye.
I'll let Dino know.
Thanks a lot, Phil. Talk to you later.
Have a good week.
Phil brought up something saying the equivalent of an all-cash buyer. And I actually have a really unique situation right now where the buyer has to move. Like, he's got basically 30 days to move. And he's making offers on pretty much anything. He just wants to get into a house. And he has quite a bit of cash, but he doesn't have the entire amount. Now, granted, this is a little bit of a smaller purchase. It's probably around $350 he's looking. Right. And he doesn't have all the money. So what we did is, and he basically instructed his realtor, come in with the full price, much more above asking, but then all cash. Tell him it's all cash. And then what I did is I went out and got him a private money loan for like $80,000 and
to bridge the difference.
To bridge the difference, and we're going to be ready to close in 7 days. And then that way, it's just as powerful as an all-cash offer.
Dino, I hate to compliment you, but that's creative thinking, and I think that's what the market needs right now. And for the listeners out there, it's important to have these different kinds of angles identified so that you know how to navigate. I was telling one of my clients, this is the time that you want a seasoned pilot in the cockpit. No time for rookies flying through the storm, because guess what? The plane's going to spiral down.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're 100% right. And I want to bookmark that, Phil, if you can do that for us, when he said, Dino, I hate to compliment you. I just want to keep replaying that over during commercials if possible, okay? You're listening to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk, AM 1150. We can be heard every weekend afternoon, and we can be reached at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335, or text the word REFI to 3131. Text the word REFI to 313131.
Hey, Dino, I want to blast through a couple of headlines that I saw this weekend. It's unbelievable. You have this perception that distressed homes make up the majority of the market. There's nothing but steals out there, but it's changed. The OC Register reported 79% fewer OC distressed home sales in this last period, 79% reduction in distress sales. And so inventories, everybody's talking about that, but they're getting scooped up. It's making an impact. I heard on one of the broadcasts earlier today that the banking community could be as much as two-thirds the way through their inventories in terms of bad debt that they have on their books. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it could be. And then what we also saw out of the OC Register, the California house prices, they're up for the third month in a row. And so statistically, we're seeing appreciation. It may be nominal right now, but it's appreciation, and it seems to be sustained.
I agree, and I don't think it's going anywhere. Are we going to flatline again for a little bit? Maybe. I hope we do. I hope it doesn't increase too much faster. It should just take a little breather for a minute and relax. Otherwise, we're going to go right back into that frenzy of last time, and then that's how things go bad. When they go up too fast, they also come down too fast.
Well, and here's what a prophet does for people. The business sector is reporting all sorts of real estate scams that are starting to reemerge. There was a couple of stories out of the loan modification business, people taking fees up front. This was happening to go to an offshore site. And so the fees weren't readily traceable, but people were paying $995 to $1,500 up front for modification services, and then the money's gone.
Yeah.
And then we're also seeing an increase out of the Department of Real Estate of licenses that are being revoked and suspended, and people getting into trouble for some of the abuses out there. So we know that the horse thieves are out there trying to steal horses again when this profit center starts to show.
And I'm good with that. I hope people lose their license. You know, we're the true professionals. We do things the right way. And you know, the more bums that are in our industry, all they do is ruin, you know, their reputation. And then earlier you just mentioned the loan modification companies. You know, we have a loan modification company that's a partner of the show. CDA Law Center, and we checked them out. We interviewed them. We really did our background on them. They are the real deal. They don't steal people's money. In fact, they turn most people down rather than take their money, just so they don't end up in situations like that.
Exactly.
So, and if you have any interest in loan modification or just want to talk to them, text the word MOD, M-O-D, to 313131. Let's text the word MOD, M-O-D, to 313131.
I have a couple more headlines for us to finish up the segment, but we're going to open up the second segment with these when we have our special guest on air. Get his reaction as well.
Who is our special guest?
Marco Rufo.
Marco! So we'll be right back after these commercials. You're listening to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335 or at dinoandnelson.com. We'll be right back.
Are you frustrated with what sounds like all mortgage radio? Record low rates, rates may not be here for long, the biggest brain freeze in the history of mankind, call Cash Cow now, blah, blah, blah. Call First Centennial Mortgage and speak to Dino and Nelson direct. Guess what? We answer the phone. Market-leading rates that are guaranteed and our close-on-time guarantee. This week's rates plunged again. Our 30-year fixed rates are priced in the mid-threes for conforming loan amounts up to $625,000, and in the remarkable category of jumbo financing, up to $2 million, rates below 4%. Truly exceptional opportunities, guaranteed.
Market leading rates brought to you by Dino and Nelson from First Centennial Mortgage. They're not a call center. Call today and deal with Dino or Nelson direct at 888-814-3335. 888-814-3335. First Centennial Mortgage. Market leading rates, guaranteed. Call 888-814-3335 or text the word refi to 313131. First Centennial Mortgage. NMLS number 132763. All rates subject to change without notice.
In a chaotic real estate market, you want peace of mind when it comes to the home you're purchasing. Roadrunner Exterminating, a family-owned and operated company providing structural repairs, local treatments, and fumigation. Roadrunner Exterminating is a licensed, bonded, and insured expert in termite, pest control, and general contracting. For fast and efficient service, plus the peace of mind of knowing the condition of your new home, call Roadrunner Exterminating at 866-398-BUGS. That's 866-398-BUGS. Or on the web at roadrunnerexterminating.com. As always, mention the Dino and Nelson Show and get a free home inspection. 866-398-BUGS or roadrunnerexterminating.com. General Contractor License 922404. Nominal fee for escrow inspections.
Ever been frustrated during a real estate transaction, wondering just when you'll receive that phone call or status about your title insurance or escrow? With Title 365, consumers like you gain unprecedented access to the status of their title insurance and escrow transactions in real time. Title 365 was created with all the benefits you'd expect, so it's never been easier to download your documents, see what's outstanding, post a question, or connect with all parties online. Ask your realtor, lender, or escrow officer about Title 365 today, or visit Title365.com.
Welcome back to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. This next segment is brought to you by Title 365, providing instant access and live status to your real estate transactions. Call Dino and Nelson at 888-814-3335 to find out more.
And I wanted to talk about, just as a trail from this first segment, interest rates. They've ticked up 2 weeks in a row, and they've gone up modestly, but the direction is up. And so it's not sending alarms to the real estate community, but is a trend starting?
You know, I had this conversation last week. I think it was on Thursday with one of my clients. He wanted to get just a little bit better of a rate. And he asked me my opinion. I said, my opinion is that you're playing with fire right now. We have been on this low of interest rates for way too long. Normally, when it hits rock bottom like this, it doesn't last longer than a day. Like, you got to lock everything in because that's it. It's over. Now it's been what? It's been a month
or months.
Yeah, it's been months, and it's not going to last much longer. Now, is it going to go back up to 5%? No. But is it going to go past over 4%? Yeah, I think it will. And I think it's going to do it a lot sooner than later.
Just don't get caught looking. So we have a special guest, Marco Rufo from Prudential California Realty, an absolute superstar in the industry, like some of the other guests that we've brought on. Born in Italy, raised in Boston, started his business about 20 years ago in the real estate sector on the commercial side, working with the Japanese clientele that were rushing in to buy real estate in a different real estate cycle that we saw. What was that, back in the late 80s?
Yeah, Nelson, actually it was late 80s, early 90s. They rushed in, they purchased up a lot of Beverly Hills, and I was involved in a lot of those transactions, from hotels to office buildings. They would come in, buy all cash, and were paying pretty much 3 times the value. The funny thing happened was when the bubble actually burst, I was then selling it back to the individuals that we bought it from. So it was a very, very unique time.
At cents on the dollar.
Yes, yeah. I must have sold over $500 million in commercial real estate in Beverly Hills alone, just in a circular area.
You know, I got to share this one story with you, and you may not see this in a marketplace like Beverly Hills, but this was a story out of the San Diego Tribune. Bank of America, there was a group of activists that were upset with B of A. B of A had taken a property back in San Diego. They had done nothing with it. The people had moved out. The weeds had grown. The lawn is dead. There's trash everywhere. And so the neighborhood got together in a demonstration. They loaded up all of the trash that was out in the front yard and left in the backyard into the back of a pickup, drove it down to the local B of A branch, and deposited it at the front door, including the rotten sofa. And their protest as they circled in their cars in front of the branch was, banks got bailed out, we got sold out. And so, okay, maybe not happening in Beverly Hills, but are we seeing properties that are just effectively abandoned?
No, you say that. That's a great point, Nelson, is that even in the luxury market, we do have properties that are abandoned, and we do have properties that are left in shambles by the previous owners because of their distaste of everything that has happened, specifically with the banks. Is there a lot of protest about it? Yes, there is. However, the laws are pretty strict right now, so that if a previous owner does leave a property in such disarray, they could actually be brought up on charges. And we've actually had a few in the particular areas where I work.
Really?
Yes.
When did that come into play?
It's actually always been around. You can't actually destroy property, especially if it goes into a foreclosure. There's actually laws that protect,
because it's no longer yours.
It's actually,
but I mean, it's yours.
No, it's yours even prior to the foreclosure. But if it's a malicious damage done to the property, you will be brought up on charges. We have one right now actually ongoing that this gentleman was brought up on charges. He put holes throughout the walls on the day of the trustee sale. So there's quite a bit of that.
And I guess in your market, in the higher end market, you can probably go after an individual like that versus a $200,000 house. What are you going to go after as a bank?
You're absolutely correct, because the investors that are buying those properties are actually very affluent, and they have the means to go after those individuals, because what they do is actually they first go after the bank, and then the bank turns around and says, well, no, there's these laws in place. So
yeah,
interesting. Hey, Marco, let me switch gears here. There's as you heard in our first segment, Phil Immel, one of your Prudential counterparts, was talking about the luxury market, and the OC Register just published this week an article about an uptick in the luxury sales, and not attributing it to just the normal summer season, that it's in fact been established and now being included in this market.
Actually, Nelson, in the last 3 months, we've seen an upsurge in sales. The sales have been great all year long, but in the last 3 months, it's actually been a considerable increase. Now, in the summer months, usually June, July, August, we are actually very slow in the luxury market. But that is not the case this year. This year, we are actually very, very busy. It leaves a lot of us not able to go on vacation this year because of it.
Most people think, though, that there is a season to real estate, a summer season. And so in the luxury market, why wouldn't they be included normally?
It's just the way it's been. The summer seasons are usually the very slow
I got the answer.
What's
the
that?
affluent vacation.
Oh, that's
I was
it.
just going to go into that. I was just going to go into that. A lot of very affluent people, they take many weeks off in the summers. We're not seeing that right now. They're around. They're buying properties. They're buying them all cash. It's absolutely something I haven't seen in a long time.
Well, the frenzy's hitting them as well because, again, going back to the $200,000 house, so the values go up a little bit. What do they go to? On a $4 or $5 million house, when that market takes off, boy, does it take off.
Yeah, the numbers are exponential.
Sure.
Keep in mind this: there was a lot of people that have been on the fence for the last few years, and they've been waiting to jump, thinking that the market was going to go even a little bit lower, and they're going to get a better deal. Well, those people made a big mistake they made. They missed the boat, and that has sailed long ago. So a lot of these individuals that are buying currently in the high-end market, they were the individuals that were the namesayers in the months previous, saying, oh, well, no, I'm going to give it a little bit more time, see if it continues to drop. Now what they're doing is they're just showering every possible prospect out there to purchase, and they're throwing money at it like we've never seen.
See, this is what something that's fine.
All of us are trying to talk.
Yeah, I gotta ask because this is something that Dino was sort of touching on. Do you see a danger of them overinflating the high end market now?
Absolutely. I think this is absolutely very dangerous ground that we're on right now. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when we were all complaining about how the foundation of the real estate market was false, well, look what's happening right now. Is it real? Well, in a sense, it is, due to the fact that these are a lot of cash buyers. So that's actual real liquid assets. Mm-hmm. So it is not money that they're borrowing. However, I do believe that there will be a false inflation due to that. And I think we could be getting ourselves into some dangerous waters again. And we may start seeing exotic loans all over again. I hope we don't, but
it's amazing. I've been staring at financial statements for 28 years, and I'm surprised how many people like Phil, our producer, and Dino are writing checks for properties. They're just paying all cash. Is that unbelievable?
Are you out of your mind?
I know it.
You're such an idiot.
Really? That would be the most exotic loan you've ever seen in your life.
But in all seriousness,
actually, there is a lot of people doing that.
Does it surprise you?
And if it does not surprise me in the markets that I'm in. It does not surprise me at all. If you want the property, because of the multiple offer situations on almost every single property, if you want it, you have to be extremely strong. As Dina was saying earlier, even if you don't qualify in providing all cash, you actually still make the offer as all cash. It's a very dangerous ground because the contract could be canceled. However, if you find other very creative solutions, as Dina was mentioning, then you will get the property.
In case you just jumped in your car, we're speaking with Marco Rufo from Prudential California Realty, and you're listening to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335.
So, Marco, to finish up this segment, where are people placing their money in your marketplace? Where are they buying? Are they still finding bargains out there, or are they just now getting in line with everybody else?
It's real funny that you say that. The bargains out there are long gone. Everyone always calls and asks that one specific, where can I get the deal now? Where can I get the deal? Well, the only deal that I foresee that is that you may be able to get is that any properties that have been lingering on the market for a long period of time, those are the only ones that I find that you can actually possibly get a substantial discount on. And
so, Mark, I'm going to cut you off because I'm going to disagree with you just for a second.
Go ahead.
You said you've missed the boat earlier, and then just a second ago, you said that the deals are gone.
The deals are gone.
And I agree in comparison to, say, a year ago.
Correct.
Right, or 2 years ago. But still, we're still, compared to what we were at 6 years ago, we're still extremely low.
Real estate's still 50 cents on the dollar.
Yeah,
I do agree with you there. However, I don't believe that was a real number years ago. That was a false, inflated market.
Well, but at the same time,
real
is what people are paying for them.
Keep in mind this: the one thing that fueled this market was what you do, your interest rates. The interest rates being still at a 30, 40-year low, right? Are we still there right now?
No,
yeah,
bouncing on the bottom.
Yeah, I think we're going like on 500-year low now.
So, I think that fueled the market. That created what we are right now, where we're going. And being an election year, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Absolutely.
And
I want to touch on that when we get back. Marco, can you stay on with us? There's a couple more questions I want to throw at you in our next segment.
Yeah, hang on tight. We're going to go to commercials, but you're listening to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335 or at dinoandnelson.com. We'll be right back.
In a chaotic real estate market, you want peace of mind when it comes to the home you're purchasing. Roadrunner Exterminating, a family-owned and operated company providing structural repairs, local treatments, and fumigation. Roadrunner Exterminating is a licensed, bonded, and insured expert in termite, pest control, and general contracting. For fast and efficient service, plus the peace of mind of knowing the condition of your new home, call Roadrunner Exterminating at 866-398-BUGS. That's 866-398-BUGS. Or on the web at roadrunnerexterminating.com. As always, mention the Dino and Nelson Show and get a free home inspection. 866-398-BUGS or roadrunnerexterminating.com. General Contractor License 922404. Nominal fee for escrow inspections.
This is Nelson from the Dino and Nelson Show, and I want to tell you about one of our show partners, Efficient Services Escrow. As the name implies, Efficient Services Escrow provides lenders, realtors, home buyers, and sellers with fast, efficient, but most importantly, worry-free specialty escrow services. Dino and I know firsthand that real estate transactions can be complex and layered with areas of exposure for details to be handled incorrectly. The number one reason we work with Efficient Services Escrow is their seasoned veterans are reliable, proactive, and best of all, provide us worry-free escrow services. With any real estate sale, purchase, or refinance, call our trusted friends at Efficient Services Escrow, 949-208-9600. That's 949-208-9600, and let them know that Dino and Nelson sent you. Efficient Services Escrow at 949-208-9600 or online at efficientescrow.com. This is Nelson from the Dino and Nelson Show, and finally, a reputable legal firm. CDA Law Center, a nationally recognized nonprofit homeowner advocate, one of the most trusted firms in the country for helping consumers with their loan modification process. CDA's attorneys have decades of combined experience guiding their clients through the very complex and choppy waters of loan modification. Call 877-499-4435. 877-499-4435. Finally, honest and ethical advice to gain real results. Call CDA Law Center at 877-499-4435 or online at cdalawcenter.com. Are you frustrated with what sounds like all mortgage radio? Record low rates, rates may not be here for long, the biggest brain freeze in the history of mankind, call cash cow now, blah, blah, blah. Call First Centennial Mortgage and speak to Dino and Nelson direct. Guess what? We answer the phone. Market-leading rates that are guaranteed and our close-on-time guarantee. This week's rates plunged again. Our 30-year fixed rates are priced in the mid-threes for conforming loan amounts up to $625,000, and in the remarkable category of jumbo financing, up to $2 million, rates below 4%. Truly exceptional opportunities, guaranteed.
Market leading rates brought to you by Dino and Nelson from First Centennial Mortgage. They're not a call center. Call today and deal with Dino or Nelson direct at 888-814-3335. 888-814-3335. First Centennial Mortgage. Market leading rates, guaranteed. Call 888-814-3335 or text the word refi to 313131. First Centennial Mortgage. NMLS number 132763. All rates subject to change without notice. Ever been frustrated during a real estate transaction? Wondering just when you'll receive that phone call or status about your title insurance or escrow? With Title 365, consumers like you gain unprecedented access to the status of their title insurance and escrow transactions in real time. Title 365 was created with all the benefits you'd expect, so it's never been easier to download your documents, see what's outstanding, post a question, or connect with all parties online. Ask your realtor, lender, or escrow officer about Title 365 today, or visit Title365.com.
The Dino and Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Dino and Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com.
Welcome back to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk, AM 1150. You can be reached at 814-3335. This next, here I am, tongue-tied. This next segment is brought to you by Roadrunner Exterminating, providing peace of mind when you move into your new home.
Dino, did you see the look on our producer's face when I called him an all-cash buyer?
Yeah.
He was just, he looked like a deer in headlights. I didn't know how to respond. Come on.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Well, you just didn't want to admit to Uncle Sam that you have that much cash sitting around.
That's right. Me and my mattress.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Marco, I appreciate you staying on with us. We know that the market's becoming congested. We're talking a little bit about how bargains relative to maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, those bargains have gone by. But tell me, what do you think are some of the factors that are keeping the mix of ingredients where they are now? Low interest rates?
Low interest rates is definitely one of the keys that started in this fuel that we see right now. The other factors, I believe, is the election year. I think that is extremely important to look at. Every election year, historically, the market has been either very good or on the uprise. That being said, some of the other factors that we see is the stock market right now. Stock market's doing really well.
Before we go into the stocks, let me stop with asking about the election influence. Because there's the conspiracy theory that the political parties are perhaps influencing the banks to stand down on releasing additional properties and creating this shortfall in inventories. Do you buy into that?
You know, there may be some reality into that. I mean, I'll be frank. In my opinion, I do believe that the economy is being fueled by the election year, and I do believe that there are people in power that are doing whatever they can to make sure that this is one of the best years possible and recovery is on the forefront so that either one party or the other party may be elected. And I believe it's the current party. So we'll see.
That's a semi-safe answer.
Well, you know what? As long as the market's getting better and as long as it doesn't shoot through the roof, I think it's a good thing.
I agree with you, Dino. I mean, it really is a good thing. Whatever the government at power can do to help the consumers and help this market to continue forward, I think is the right thing.
I agree. You know, the other thing, too, that we didn't talk about, but is it possible that people are just making more money? Or that they've gotten out of the
wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah, I mean,
no, I don't think people are making more money. I think actually quite a majority are making less.
Well, so I talk to people about finances all day long, right? And in the way I see it is, you got people that 5 years ago had a ton of financial obligation, and since then they've either lost their house or sold it. They've shed the rental properties that they had. They shed the Mercedes down to a Honda or something reasonable. Ford Edge, for example. I see a lot of people went from Range Rover to Ford Edge, and their overall monthly expenses are significantly less. Their job is stable now, and in general, I think confidence is back.
See, this is what I think you're hinting at, and I absolutely buy into this. Confidence has swung. And there's an emotional influence in terms of people thinking that they're on safe foundation again. Maybe their feet have brushed up against the sand and they're not out there bobbing in the ocean going, I'm going to drown. They're going to be okay. And they're starting to inch out a little bit and repurchase things,
you know, like
real
Dino
estate
was saying,
included.
Like Dino was saying, yeah, absolutely. Those people that shed all that excess fat, let's call it excess fat. You know,
that's a good analogy for Dino.
They have. Didn't mean to go there, Dino, but it is true. They have downsized. A lot of people have downsized. So in retrospect, yes, your analogy is correct. However, their income, has it really increased? I don't believe so. I think actually a lot of people have actually lost their jobs. Now, there is the individuals that actually have gone up, but I think they're far and few between.
I agree. I mean, it's not significantly better, but the one thing I see, and I'll put myself in that bucket, is my industry was one of the very first hit, as yours.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, the real estate industry, one of the very first hits. So when things really started going, downhill fast for me, I had to make a lot of quick changes, and right. I hung on for a while thinking, okay, maybe it's going to come back.
You can survive the storm.
Yeah, I can survive it. And then all of a sudden say, hey, it's not coming back. We got to make some changes. Now, at the same time, I had other friends in other industries that were flourishing.
Right.
Had a ton of money, going up and buying every single toy that the last mortgage broker had to sell, for pennies on the dollar, and everything was fabulous. Now, fast forwarding 4 or 5 years or so, everybody that I knew that started out real bad has reinvented themselves or gotten a new job or whatever it is that's happened and is making more money. And all those people that were doing great for that first 2 years or so when the economy tanked, all of a sudden are hurting.
That's right.
It's like this cycle. And now
it is a
it's
cycle.
role reversal.
But you understand that real estate is a cycle, as also in people's personal lives. They're all cycles. This is all a cycle. So you're absolutely correct. I mean, there's a lot of individuals that were flourishing that no longer are, and it's switched over. I think the individual that is flourishing today, that weathered the storm, was an individual that had a fantastic foundation in whatever career they were in and whatever they were doing, and they continued to just be strong with the basics.
Right.
They had to downsize, yes, and they saved their pennies. Like we were talking about earlier, all cash, putting your money in your mattress. Well, maybe those were some of those people.
Sure. Just in case you jumped in your car, you're listening to the Dino Nelson Show here on K-Talk, AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Touching back on what you were saying, the one thing I really like that has happened is the fiscal responsibility that people had to learn. Mm-hmm. That our grandparents, coming from the Great Depression and various, World War II and stuff like that. I mean, my gosh, my mom can use the same Ziploc bag, over and over again. It's not dirty, she says.
As mine does.
And yet I get a little bit of mayonnaise on the tip of it and I'm throwing it away.
And it's funny. And I have to say, our own industry, the loan industry, years back, they were some of the biggest violators. I mean, I saw, as we both did, people entering into the business just out of college, 6 months into their work career, and they're out buying the $160,000 Maserati. And okay, they can afford that lease payment for a period of time, but they can't afford to play that game. In that exuberance that was out there, maybe people have just smartened up. Maybe we just have a smarter consumer because of the damage that was done.
Absolutely. Image is everything, especially in my business. And there's a lot of those individuals that you just spoke of that went and bought that Maserati for $160,000. It's all image. It's all perception. What's behind it?
What color was your Maserati, Dino?
Big hat, no cattle, I think they call it. Right?
Big hat, no cattle. I love that. Hey, let's help our listeners out. We know that the market's congested. Let's give them some concrete steps of what they can do. And I want to speak to the sellers, first of all. They're trying to get their properties sold, get into escrow once, not have it fall out. Do you have some tips on what we can do?
Absolutely do. In regards to sellers, if they're really serious about selling, and because that's the question they first need to ask themselves, are they really serious? Because if they're really serious, they will sell their home. Basically, what they need to do, they still need to be realistic about their numbers. Even though we're all here right now, we're talking about how fueled the market is, how wonderful it is and great it is, the reality is still that the number that a house is worth may not be what a seller wants to list it for. So that being said, sellers absolutely need to be realistic. Sometimes it's better to price a property a little bit lower and get that what is called a slingshot effect and drive that number up. So that's my main comment for sellers. That's what they need to do.
As opposed to reaching for that
unattainable number, list it high, have no offers, sits on the market. When it sits on the market, becomes stale. That stagnant home then sells for less than you would have listed it prior at the right number and possibly slingshotted it up.
Well, I'll give you an example. Are we going to get Chevy on the phone?
We are.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I should let him tell the story.
No, we have a story for you coming up that's just going to be unbelievable. It knocks your socks off in terms of demonstrating the kind of activity out there. So what would you quickly tell buyers?
Buyers, number one, as you guys said earlier, they have to get pre-qualified. They have to actually be pre-approved, not pre-qualified. Pre-approved. They have to be ready to act on a dime. They need to write offers immediately. They need to write offers that are very low terms. What do I mean by that? No contingencies. Need to waive to make a bigger incentive to the seller of why they should be picked as the buyer. So all cash offers is fantastic, but if you can't do an all cash offer, be pre-qualified, pre-approved, remove some of the contingencies prior. And just be ready to act very, very quickly. Get off the fence, get moving.
Well, let's take a quick break and come back and talk to Chevy. He's got the most unbelievable story about a listing he just put on the market. And in a very short amount of time, he got...
Don't tell him.
Okay. All right. So hang on tight. We'll be right back from commercials. You're listening to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk, AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335 or at dinoandnelson.com. We'll be right back.
This is Nelson from the Dino and Nelson Show, and I want to tell you about one of our show partners, Efficient Services Escrow. As the name implies, Efficient Services Escrow provides lenders, realtors, home buyers, and sellers with fast, efficient, but most importantly, worry-free specialty escrow services. Dino and I know firsthand that real estate transactions can be complex and layered with areas of exposure for details to be handled incorrectly. The number one reason we work with Efficient Services Escrow is their seasoned veterans are reliable, proactive, and best of all, provide us worry-free escrow services. With any real estate sale, purchase, or refinance, call our trusted friends at Efficient Services Escrow, 949-208-9600. That's 949-208-9600, and let them know that Dino and Nelson sent you. Efficient Services Escrow at 949-208-9600 or online at efficientescrow.com.
In a chaotic real estate market, you want peace of mind when it comes to the home you're purchasing. Roadrunner Exterminating, a family-owned and operated company providing structural repairs, local treatments, and fumigation. Roadrunner Exterminating is a licensed, bonded, and insured expert in termite, pest control, and general contracting. For fast and efficient service, plus the peace of mind of knowing the condition of your new home, call Roadrunner Exterminating at 866-398-BUGS. That's 866-398-BUGS. Or on the web at roadrunnerexterminating.com. As always, mention the Dino and Nelson Show and get a free home inspection. 866-398-BUGS or roadrunnerexterminating.com. General Contractor License 922404. Nominal fee for escrow inspections.
The Dino and Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Dino and Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com.
Ever been frustrated during a real estate transaction, wondering just when you'll receive that phone call or status about your title insurance or escrow? With Title 365, consumers like you gain unprecedented access to the status of their title insurance and escrow transactions in real time. Title 365 was created with all the benefits you'd expect, so it's never been easier to download your documents, see what's outstanding, post a question, or connect with all parties online. Ask your realtor, lender, or escrow officer about Title 365 today, or visit Title365.com.
This is Nelson from the Dino and Nelson Show, and finally a reputable legal firm. CDA Law Center, a nationally recognized nonprofit homeowner advocate, one of the most trusted firms in the country for helping consumers with their loan modification process. CDA's attorneys have decades of combined experience guiding their clients through the very complex and choppy waters of loan modification. Call 877-499-4435. 877-499-4435. Finally, honest and ethical advice to gain real results. Call CDA Law Center at 877-499-4435 or online at cdalawcenter.com.
Welcome back to the Dino and Nelson Show. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. We have our special friend and guest, Chevy Atkinson.
Hey, Chevy, we got you on the line.
I didn't finish. I was going to do this nice little intro for him.
All right, let's hear your intro.
From Evergreen Realty, welcome to the show, Chevy.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me finish.
Welcome to show, Chevy. All right, that's good, Ebonics. All right, so Chevy, hey, we got you on the line. We have a question in terms of what's happening in your marketplace, and you had offline had shared the story of the recent listing that you took in Rancho Santa Margarita. What's the scoop?
Yes, so that property, I listed it on Thursday, and I actually, I love camping, so I went camping on Friday morning, and the seller asked me to have call first, go direct with 1 hour notice. And when I got back from camping, I had voice messages from so many agents that by Saturday morning at 9 a.m. my voicemail box was full. And I had emails from the seller asking me to please turn off all the marketing for the property. I had over 400 emails, over 200 of those were for that specific property, and then ended up with well over 50 offers for the property, including 20 or so all-cash offers, quite a ways above the asking price.
What was the price point on that?
We listed at $210. The comparable sales within the last 4 months were as low as $200, but within the last couple months there had been sales as high as $230 and $240. As you know, Dino and Nelson, with short sales, they tend to take a long time. And so our concern is always in the summer, especially when properties start getting bid up like this, that there'll be buyers that are going to offer, really high numbers and then not be around by the time the short sales are approved in the fall and winter. So it does become a little bit tricky for us as well as our clients to try to find the best buyer that's going to wait for the short sale approval and not overbid and set the wrong expectations with the bank.
Do we have, that brings up a question that I actually was going to throw at Dino under our Stump Dino section, but I'm going to ask you, Chevy, because he probably won't know. Is there legislation that was passed that requires the banks to respond quicker? I know it's been Here's my understanding of the legislation that's out there. They're supposed to respond and actually approve 85% of their short sales within 90 days. But what I've been seeing is there's really no teeth to the legislation. What will happen is you'll have a short sale that will be close to approval, but will be over the 90-day period. So they'll intentionally, I might be speculating a little bit, but I've had situations on short sales where they should be ready for approval, but they're over the 90-day period, and they'll throw it out for no apparent reason and tell me I have to start over again. And what my professional negotiators have communicated to me is they think it's because of that new legislation. They want to make sure they're getting the 85% under the 90 days, so they'll kick it out and start it over so they can restart their clock. So it ends up actually working against the seller and the buyers that are trying to buy some of these properties. So the banks are still kind of Wild West when it comes to it, even though they are trying to put in legislation to have them respond quicker. I haven't seen any noticeable improvement whatsoever.
Gosh, that short sale market is so tough. I just wish that we'd get out of that completely and just be dealing with regular sellers again.
Yeah, but I mean, they do need to start pushing these things through, so they're moving the right direction. I mean, if you look at a supply chart, I mean, just take Irvine, for example, going back to 2007, every single year in January, supply increases. This has been the first year that in January supply and actually continued to decrease, and it's continued to decrease even to today. We're at a point now that if you look in the last 6 years, we haven't ever had lower supply than we have right now in Irvine, for example, in Orange County in general, and I'm sure LA County is very similar. The only other time we've even been close was Christmas time of 2009. So, of course, in the winter, less people are trying to sell their homes, but to have this low of supply in the middle of summer is absolutely reinflating what I think is going to end up being, history is going to show us the mini bubble. The banks eventually have to release this product, and, eventually rates are going to start to creep up a little bit. I can't imagine that we're going to keep seeing 50-plus offers on properties.
An amazing story. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chevy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're going right into the Stump Dino section. Stump Dino brought to you by Best Chauffeured, worry-free and on-time limousine transportation services. Dino, I want our listeners, if they have any needs for limousine services, text the word limo to 313131. That's limo, L-I-M-O, to 313131. So starting off Stump Dino, I'm going to bail you out as I seem to do each week. I've got Bill Bergschneider from USA National Title with us. Bill, we seem to find that transactions are taking a little bit longer. And is there a rhyme and reason? And how should people prepare for this from your side?
Yeah, there is rhyme and reason. Part of the reason strictly is volume has increased. We certainly are in a refi boom. So the issue is whether the delays are at the end at the recorder's office because you have many recorder's offices on furlough So when you think you're going to get confirmation nice and early of your close, it takes hours and hours. At the lenders, things are backing up from the underwriting table. On the side of the short sale lenders, you've got closings being delayed on the short sale approval, even though there are many, many mandates due to the lawsuits of these lenders getting their approvals out quickly. The mere volume of and the demand that, for example, Chase wants to get out 250,000 short sales in, out, done, and closed before the year is up. So purely a demand issue and a workforce issue. Many, many closes. What people can do to keep these closes to keep these delays from happening to their close. For one, listen to their real estate agent very, very closely, and especially listen to their lenders. As if their lender and mortgage broker were their doctor. They've got to get their docs in ahead of time. They've got to get all their income docs prepped, get everything they need for the short sale. Everything's got to be on time, if not ahead of time. That first conversation is the most important one.
So, Bill, what you're saying is that it's really not Nelson's fault. It's the industry.
Wow.
I blame Nelson.
Yeah, thanks for that.
I had to do it because he was about to do it first. He was going to try.
Hey, Bill, we know on the lending side there is a priority given to purchase transactions, and refinance transactions are second in line. Does that happen on the title side?
No, it truly doesn't, but you certainly have some companies that specialize in refis, so the purchases get pushed back a bit, and again, by pure volume.
Title, though, these days has become so automated, hasn't it, that you guys can't be experiencing the same kind of backup as you used to, say, 10 years ago.
The automation is wonderful, and it saves a great deal of time. What many companies, I will say ours excluded, many companies are outsourcing the title work these days, so your title policy, your title prelim, especially is being prepared in India, in the Philippines, or in Pakistan. We don't really subscribe to that service. We're USA National Title, so we prefer to keep our work right here at home.
So what you're saying is,
oh my God,
don't say India call center stuff. Oh gosh, that drives me nuts.
Hey, Bill, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the advice for our listeners.
My pleasure. Anytime, guys.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Bye.
So, Dino, let me fire these questions at you, and we're going to do this quickly.
All right, let's do
Out
it.
of San Fernando Valley, my offer was submitted to the lender for the purchase of a short sale, and it's been 3 months so far. I think Chevy talked on this, where legislation has been passed, but lenders are still having a problem processing these short sales.
He did touch upon it, and like he said, that the legislation doesn't have any teeth, and basically, there's no rhyme or reason for anything. The banks are trying to maybe do the right thing, but they can't ever seem to get their head out of their beep, and things never happen in time over there.
So out of Aliso Viejo, I'm refinancing my condo that I've owned for 15 years, and I'm being told that I need what's called HO6 insurance. Why is that?
Yeah, serious bummer. If you had financed prior, there was no insurance needed because your association covers your fire insurance. But now all of a sudden, the banks are requiring condo owners to also get an HO6 policy, which isn't very expensive. You're looking at probably about $30 to $40 a month, but it's called Walls In, so it covers everything within the walls.
The interior of the
whereas the association's insurance basically covers the rebuilding
of the structure itself.
Right.
Okay, this is kind of a serious one. Out of Los Angeles, our home had a homicide in it before we purchased it. We found out after the close. What do we do?
If it was a famous person, you could probably make a little museum out of it and try and make some money.
There you go. There's the optimist in you.
If it wasn't, that's a good question. I mean, law says you're supposed to tell people. Now, did the sellers know? Did the agent know?
The seller got killed. How would they know?
That's a good one.
Jeez.
Then
Weren't you listening?
You know what? That's a question we should ask Bill next week.
Let's
from
do that.
USA Title. That's a good one. Anyways, I will let you think about that as well, and maybe next week you can have the right answer.
Stumped Dino. I love it.
Because I got stumped. You're listening to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk, AM 1150. We can be reached every weekend afternoon at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335 or at dinoandnelson.com. And special thanks to our guest today, Marco from Prudential, California. Thanks, Marco.
Hey, you're welcome, guys. Thank you.
See you next week.
Are you frustrated with what sounds like all mortgage radio? Record low rates, rates may not be here for long, the biggest brain freeze in the history of mankind.